How would you feel if your childhood best friend stole your future, tricked you into becoming a maid, and tried to marry the man who was meant for you? This is the untold story of Dorcas, a poor, brilliant graduate who was betrayed, buried, but never broken. What she did when she discovered the truth will make you cry, clap, and believe in destiny all over again. The first day Dorcas walked into Nathan's mansion, dressed in a faded lilac gown and rubber slippers, the security guard almost didn't let her in. He had mistaken her for one of the many neighborhood girls who wandered around rich homes begging for food. But her soft voice, respectful tone, and the letter of employment she held in her trembling hands quickly changed everything. She was the new maid. The house was enormous, almost the size of her entire faculty building back at the university. Marble floors, framed paintings, chandeliers that sparkled like diamonds. It didn't feel real. Dorcas blinked twice to be sure it wasn't all a dream. But it wasn't. It dropped her small traveling bag in the corner of the servants' quarters and sat on the narrow metal bed. The mattress creaked beneath her, but she didn't care. What pained her most wasn't the work, or even the humiliating uniform she'd soon wear. It was the fact that she was a first-class graduate in English from a federal university. And now, she was employed to scrub floors, wash toilets, where she once dreamed of working as a communication officer. Her heart was heavy, but she smiled anyway. She thought of a mother in the village, battling arthritis, and her younger siblings who still looked up to her. She had no right to cry. After all, she had willingly accepted the job. The pay was small, but at least it came with a roof over her head and meals she didn't have to beg for. Dorcas. A voice called gently at the door. She turned. It was Tracy, her childhood best friend. Tracy was dressed in a sharp office skirt and heels that clicked with confidence. Her lipstick was deep red, and her perfume filled the room like pride. I told Mr. Nathan you're the best when it comes to housekeeping. I practically begged him to give you this job, she said, her voice syrupy sweet. You're lucky. At least now you have something. Dorcas managed a smile. Thank you, Tracy. I really appreciate it. Tracy sat beside. You remember our promise in JSS 2? That we'd both make it in life no matter what. Dorcas nodded slowly, memories flashing like lightning in her head. How they used to read under the mango tree, how they shared pencils, food, and dreams. Yes, Dorcas whispered. Well, I'm already in the company's inner circle now, Tracy said with pride. I can pull you up too. But start here. Be humble. Don't ask too many questions. Just do your job and trust me, things will get better. Dorcas didn't know what to say. Something about Tracy's tone was strange. This was not the same girl who used to braid her hair during long holidays or sneak Gary and granots to her when there was no food. This version of Tracy seemed polished on the outside, but cold inside. Still, Dorcas believed her. Why wouldn't she? This was her best friend, and her first round of duties. But she polished the furniture again. She ironed Nathan's clothes like she was preparing a thesis. She even helped the cook prepare Nathan's favorite, boiled plantain with garden egg sauce. But she hadn't seen him yet. Nathan. The man she worked for. All she knew was that he was wealthy, powerful, and quiet. A self-made billionaire who built his media company from nothing. People said he didn't trust women. Some whispered he had a tragic past. But Dorcas didn't care for rumors. She just wanted to survive. Late that night, while cleaning the study room, she saw a dusty poetry book lying beside a leather armchair. It was titled, Whispers of the Soul. She picked it up and smiled. She had read it back in school. As she recited a line softly, I loved you like silence loves the night, she heard a deep voice behind her. You know that book. She froze. Slowly, she turned. A tall man in a white shirt and black trousers stood at the door. Clean-shaven. Calm eyes. Gentle but commanding presence. Yes, sir, she answered quietly, lowering her eyes. What's your name? Dorcas. Closer, picked the book from her hands, and stared at her for a moment longer than necessary. You can go, he said finally. Dorcas bowed slightly and left, her heart beating like a drum. She didn't know what it meant, but something in his eyes told her this man was not as unreachable as they said. He had pain in his eyes, pain she strangely understood. Back in her tiny room, she couldn't sleep. She hugged her pillow and whispered to herself, one day, you will rise again. Even if the whole world forgets you, even if your best friend tricks you, you will rise. Outside, the mansion lights glowed like the stars she once dreamed under. And so began her journey, not just as a maid, but as a woman about to rewrite her destiny with pain, courage, and unexpected love. Years before Dorcas found herself scrubbing marble floors in a billionaire's mansion, there was a promise, an innocent promise between two girls under a mango tree. Dorcas, Tracy had said, we'll go to university, graduate, and work in big companies together. Nothing will separate us. Not even money. Back then, Dorcas believed her. Tracy was the sister she never had. Loud, playful, full of dreams. They wore matching clothes to church, cooked together, and cried into each other's shoulders when their parents couldn't pay school fees. But life had a funny way of peeling the truth layer by layer. Dorcas remembered the day it all began. She had just graduated with flying colors, a first class in English. She was glowing with hope. Her NYSC year had ended, and she was home job hunting. One afternoon, Tracy paid her a surprise visit, dressed in fine clothes and with her usual excited chatter. Babe, guess what? I've got a connection in a big media company. They're hiring PR officers. Very juicy pay. Tracy had said, practically bouncing on the spot. Dorcas had gasped, eyes wide. Are you serious? Yes. No. But here's the thing. They're asking for credentials today. I don't have mine on me. But since I can just submit your own for now, just to hold the spot. Then I'll switch it when I get mine from home. Dorcas hesitated. Something felt off, but she trusted Tracy. Always had. She handed over her CV, her degree, and her NYSC discharge certificate, all originals. Just for a few days, Tracy had promised. You know I'll never do anything to harm you. That was the last time Dorcas saw those documents. Days turned to weeks, then months. Tracy stopped answering calls. When she finally picked, she claimed she lost the documents in a car robbery. Dorcas was devastated, but blamed herself. She didn't know how to tell her mother. She became withdrawn, jobless, and hopeless. Every interview she applied for needed original documents. Without them, she was locked out of opportunities. Until one day, her phone rang. It was Tracy, after almost a year. Hey babe, I've got good news for you, she said cheerfully. There's a billionaire I work for now, Mr. Nathan. Very kind man. He's looking for a reliable maid for his mansion. I told him about you. Don't worry, it's just temporary. Once you're in, I'll help you get a better position. Dorcas was hesitant. Me, a maid. Tracy, I'm a graduate. I know, Tracy rushed. But look, no credentials, no job. Right now, you need income, food, and shelter. And you can't stay home forever. Just take it for now. Trust me, I'm doing this for your own good. She gave her an address and said an offer letter would be waiting at the gate. Dorcas, too tired to fight, accepted. What she didn't know was that it was all part of a calculated trap. You see, Tracy had never lost her documents. In fact, she had forged a few details and submitted them under her own name, securing the job of public relations officer at Nathan's company. And not just that, she had carefully studied Nathan's taste, habits, and vulnerabilities. She knew he was lonely, that he avoided flashy women, and that he admired simple, intelligent ladies who reminded him of his late sister. Tracy was no fool. She shaved down her flamboyance, practiced humility, and sold herself as a soft-spoken, educated lady with a degree she never earned. Within months, Nathan began to trust her. But Tracy had a problem. Dorcas. If Dorcas ever surfaced with the truth, it could all come to plan. Keep Dorcas close, but at a distance. Hide her in plain sight. Make her a maid in the same house, right under her nose, yet far from the truth. That way, Dorcas would be and when Tracy finally succeeded in marrying Nathan, she would quietly kick Dorcas out and bury the past forever. But fate had other plans. That same evening, after mopping the living room floor, Dorcas sat on the edge of the stairwell, staring into space. She overheard Tracy on the phone nearby. "Yes, she's here already. I told you she's harmless. Knave. She doesn't even suspect a thing." Dorcas froze. Her hand tightened around the mop handle. She wasn't sure what she had just heard, but her spirit stirred. That night, she stared at the ceiling in her tiny room, thoughts racing. Why did Tracy always sound like she was hiding something? What had really happened to her documents? And why did she feel like a prisoner, instead of a guest, in this mansion? Then came a knock on her door. It was Nathan's mother, gentle, elderly, and warm. "I heard you were once a teacher," she said softly. "Yes, ma. I studied English." The old woman smiled. "Good. I've been writing a book of poems for years, but no one seems to understand them. Maybe you can help me." Dorcas' eyes lit up. For the first time in months, someone saw her beyond the uniform, beyond the lies. She nodded quickly. "Yes, ma. I would love to." As the old woman left, a quiet voice rose in Dorcas' chest. "Your story isn't over." She didn't know how. She didn't know when. But she knew, one day, somehow, she would find out the truth, and the world would know who she really was. Dorcas had just finished washing the crystal dishes in the kitchen when the head cook, Mama Elsie, tapped her shoulder. "Madam wants to see you in the rose garden," she said, wiping her hands on her apron. Dorcas blinked. "Me?" Mama Elsie nodded. "Yes, you. And wear something better than that rag." Dorcas quickly changed into her cleaner maid gown and tightened her scarf. Her palms were still dry from the detergent, but her heart was beating faster than usual. She followed the narrow walkway lined with flowers until she reached the garden. The sun was soft that morning, and butterflies fluttered lazily between the petals. Sitting under the shade of a mango tree was Nathan's mother, a frail but dignified woman who wore simplicity like a crown. Beside her sat someone else, a man in a white shirt, sleeves folded, with his back turned. "Nathan." Dorcas immediately bowed. "Good morning, Ma." "Come, Dorcas," Nathan's mother said, gesturing kindly. "Sit with us. I was just telling Nathan about your gift." Nathan turned slowly, his eyes meeting hers for the second time since their brief encounter in the study. Even more serious, not arrogant, but distant. Like someone carrying an invisible weight. "She's the one?" he asked his mother without taking his eyes off Dorcas. "Yes," she smiled. "The girl who corrected the rhyme scheme in my poem, and even explained the metaphor about the broken mirror. A maid who thinks like a scholar." Dorcas lowered her eyes modestly, her heart thudding. "I studied English, sir," she said quietly. Nathan tilted his head. "Where?" "Federal University of Oena. I graduated with first class." He blinked, surprised. "You did?" "Yes, sir. But my documents were stolen during NYSC. I haven't been able to get replacements." Nathan said nothing for a moment. He simply watched her. Then he leaned back and opened the book of poetry. "Read this," he said, pointing to a page. Dorcas took the book with slightly shaking hands. Her voice, calm and melodic, floated into the morning air as she read. "I buried my dreams beside a thorn, but they bloomed again at break of dawn." She paused, then explained, "This line means pain may delay destiny, but it can't destroy it." Nathan's lips parted slightly. He didn't smile, but something in his expression changed, like he had found a mirror in an unexpected place. He nodded slowly. "That's very accurate." Dorcas handed the book back and quietly stood. "I'll return to work now, sir." "No," Nathan's mother interrupted gently. "Join us for tea." Dorcas almost choked on her breath. She glanced at Nathan, expecting disapproval, but he simply waved at the waiter without protest. That morning, Dorcas sat at the same table as the man who unknowingly held the key to her future. She didn't speak unless spoken to, but Nathan's mother kept drawing her in, asking about her favorite authors, her childhood, her dreams. It was the first time Dorcas laughed in months. But upstairs, someone was watching. Tracy.